taken off the table here as we get into it. Y'all can talk a little bit more about that as we have the Ambessa first pick.
Yeah, Ambessa, such an important pick, one that has been banned on blue sides both time around, and I think a great takeaway from a player like Flandre. Now, here on the back end, we wanted to see what their response was going to be, whether or not we're going to continue to see Cassante go and take a vacation here in our grand finals.
He's
but
chilling.
Already, the Nocturne here, so kind of forcing TES to say, look, Creme, not as comfortable on control mages. Are you willing to take Orianna, which has been his most played this season?
So, if I'm not mistaken, right, we can still see Ezreal here, which I think is just the go-to answer for knockwaves that you get. You see the Nocturne coming in, you try and shockwave or E out of the shockwave. That's typically the answer that you go for. Sylas very early, and I mean these are two decent ultimates to be taking away anyway. Small concern, Nocturne can spell shield Sylas ulti, so when he tries to steal it, you can immune that. So it's a bit of a coin flip as to whether or not you expect Tarzan to be ready for it. And Top Esports, you know, I'd love to see them try and get this Ezreal early on, unless they're gonna have an opportunity to get it banned away from them.
I still like this draft, even if it wasn't the Viego, even with this Lee Sin. I think there's so much threat now onto this backline. The fact that the TS are willing to scrap this Galio, however, is going to make things, I think, a little bit difficult. What I want to see from AL in the back end now is how much damage are they going to be able to squeeze from support and top lane here? Just because with an Ashe, the consistent damage isn't always going to be there, and Nocturne can maybe kill one member, but I think there's too much healing from the side of TES here.
And as much as we've seen Shanks play so well on the Galio, and this has been Shanks's pick, one of for the entirety of this split, this is still a flex pick. Kael can still take this into the support role to open them up the Orianna still. So there's an opportunity here for Top to ban away 2 supports and then just get flexed on anyway. So would be really cautious about how Top continue this next phase of bans. Xayah's going to be a really good ban as well for AL. They've got so much dive already that taking those 2 champs off the board, the Ezreal already gone. We knew this was going to be a threat, right, for Top, is if they don't take the Ezreal, can get banned away.
I like the Corki ban. Yeah, I think the Corki ban would have opened up a little too much here for TES. So on 4, we have to see whether or not this Galio is going to be the flex. Really only happens this season so far. It's gone to Shanks and Flandre. We can expect to see if Kael has been a little bit of a maestro in support. But I really like anything that can deal with how low range this TES composition is going to be. And that's why I think the Corki and Ezreal bans are so impactful.
I think the most impactful thing right now is figure out what support is going to be looking like, because both these guys, Crisp and Kael, have already had pretty impactful games in the series itself, and I think kind of an undercurrent to what's been going on with those big stars on either side. But the Camille gets locked in. You got to expect that's coming in for Flandre.
Okay.
You expect the Xayah to get locked in. Very solid versus all the dive that we get to see, and I am a little surprised by the Top bans that they've gone for, just because they've got, you know, they're banning disengaged champs on support, where really you can see what AL are looking for, and it's just full dive already. So maybe just banning out these champs because they knew that they wanted to take the Rell here, and with AL having to take top lane to, I'll say, preserve this flex, and because they see the top matchup, they knew exactly that they were going to be playing against Xayah for the most part, and now AL have to decide, is this Galio going mid lane, is it going bot lane, and what the round out pick is going to be.
Wow, we gave R5 to Kael, someone who typically has been receiving resources in the draft, specifically more recently in their series, but I think here, there's not much. I think that this bottom lane already kind of wins for AL now that you have double range, you have the Ashe as well to deal so much damage, and now you're going to be playing Camille into the Ambessa. I think that AL have a really fire draft here, and unless TES can win skirmishes early, they're going to be struggling to really kind of get into that backline and deal any kind of real meaningful damage.
Yeah, one of the reasons that I was looking at this AL comp and going, I'd love the Galio to go support here, is because their damage on AL side, not the most as we move into the late game, but the Lulu actually gives them that element of hope. He's now a hyper carry as we move into the late game, because he's not just going to be an Ashe, he's going to be an Ashe that's buffed by an enchanter, and he's going to be that much more difficult, that much more slippery to lock down, because what the top esports actually have to lock down an Ashe, you know, Rell's there, Ambessa maybe, but these things that are all going to be affected by skill shots and by movement speed, something that we're going to see a lot of.
I mean, the Ashes in LPL playoffs have been just space gliding all over people, and you can only get it once in the series. We saw it banned early, now let through. You saw Tabe immediately went to Kael. I was like saying something to him very sternly. So a lot of weight on the shoulders of this Lulu last pick for anyone's legend. But the fact that we get to a tied series in game number 2. We've seen very good showing from both Top Esports and Anyone's Legend, very akin to the performances we've seen building them up to this point. Top Esports having to run the hellish gauntlet that is the lower bracket through incredible teams. And then you'll have Anyone's Legend, who nobody expected to even be here in the first place, made the upper bracket run, had massive game 5 series, and it all comes down to the start of a best of 3 here in our grand finals. Game 3 kicks off now.
欢迎来到英雄联盟。敌军还有30秒到达战场，免速。
And looking at the compositions that these two teams have drafted, it's good dive across both top sides. But the pivot into this Lulu on R5 for AL suggests that they are going to be putting a ton of eggs into the Hope basket and into keeping this Ashe as that hyper carry in the late game. They see the Xayah already, and diving versus Xayah is going to be difficult.
Oh man, I'm so sad that ward doesn't get spotted here. AL are very deep into this bottom side. Mostly, I think, trying to ascertain some information. This ward is getting overtime pay right now, dog. Like, this guy has so much info.
Working on holidays, it's LPL finals. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
The holiday pay. But I do want to circle in a little bit of important fact. I know we've talked so much about top lane so far this series. The impact that these champions have fit to a T what 369 and Flandre have been bringing to the table, all split long for their teams respectively.
I think just having an Ambessa light clone in the Camille, just hook shot right
Is
into the
that what
back
she
line.
is? Are we
That's all
serious?
she's going to be doing. Think about what JackeyLove and what even Creme can kind of do in this fight. You're going to be having a Camille run straight into the back line with hook shot, flash in, maybe even get the ultimate as well, locking them up to set up for Shanks and Tarzan. It is very dangerous to play, and so I think for TES, what I'm looking for is how this top side is able to operate. Can 369 get onto Hope, and how much is he going to be actually able to do alongside Shanks when there's a Lulu with a polymorph and the ultimate?
Yeah, this Ambessa pick was set up for. The third ban that we saw from Top Esports was the Renekton, one of the tried and tested answers to the Ambessa. And this Camille is a bit of a budget option. You take the Camille versus the Ambessa because we know Ambessa, a champion, gets a dash after every spell. Well, Camille locks you in the Hextech Ultimatum, and you don't get to have that same maneuverability, or if you do, it's within a certain radius that you can play around a lot easier as this AL roster. But both of these two top laners have got either a very solid counter pick or one of the most highly sought after champions in the meta. And with that power does come the responsibility.
And I love it because Flandre's game plan, it doesn't change much from last game, right? Hey, you see JackeyLove, you kill JackeyLove.
Yeah.
Let's see if it continues to be the case.
And in this game now, when we're seeing the lane swaps, especially with, hey, like we're cool with our top laners kind of being on their own, Flandre does have extra ability to split push compared to the Ambessa, especially with that Q. So you already see 2 plates down here for AL, and they're making really short work of a lot of this gold here. Flandre's going to be able to back, if anything, he can TP back up to this wave, but most of it's already gone. So already he's, I think, off to a really good start between AL and the rest of his team.
Taking a look at bot lane here, we got 4 members of Anyone's Legend down this way. Shanks have CP available. You're gonna stick this one out. Kanavi coming in to provide a little bit of support. Really nobody else coming down as they take the engage onto Crisp here as well. It takes a brunt of damage. Flandre not going to take as much back. In Top Esports, they're struggling to even get over here.
Yeah, this is all denying experience. So JackeyLove is getting no access to gold, no access to XP. Where yes, AL, they're splitting it 4 ways. But I'll take 6 minions split 4 ways over 6 minions not at all.
That's always the mathematic equation of what is what times 0. And hey, it always works out that way. And they are going to continue doing it. I mean, the worst part is Top Esports. I mean, what is the solution here? What are you going to do to try to get out of this one?
Maybe with a level 4 after the wave has already crashed. It seems like one more turret plate here for 369, and he can invest the teleport, but it is just through minion waves now. 12 of them gone. Chris!
There we go.
Okay, they waited too long. Flandre flashing away, but gets taken out by Kanavi. And here comes Creme on the flank too. The Hope Hope is running away, and now you have Kael followed up on by Kanavi, who is just on a tear on this Lee Sin. Creme claims the kill, and that'll be 2 quick kills going the way of top esports.
They stick around too long. What do? Well, they make Creme sacrifice a wave mid lane to come down for 2 kills in top esports back pocket. They'll be more than happy to take that trade. It gives JackeyLove access to that wave. It gives a kill over to this mid jungle duo for top esports, who have been tearing up the lower bracket. And now Creme with this Sylas, with that extra kill, and I feel very confident going into the 1v1.
And we didn't touch on this in the draft, but Sylas, such a great pick for someone like Creme. The fact that he finds this timer, knows, look, either Galio is going to have to commit the teleport. If he sees it in mid, he just makes the move already. There's no level 6 already, right? So why not go for this? And it opens up such a big play. Again, the solo laners here having to have such a big impact in this game. And I think when you give a player like Creme his Sylas, you open up a Pandora's box of possibilities.
Yeah, I mean, this guy was always the melee mid, the Akali enjoyer on OMG. Yeah. But you look at his Yone, his Sylas ain't too much of a slouch either. The guy's been on a come up. This is his 2nd attempt at a championship after making it to a finals last spring with top esports. But he's been a guy on everybody's radar now on the Sylas, with honestly an Omega draft to go up against. I mean, it feels like you could take anything here from Sylas and be perfectly okay with it, as AL are going to move over to the Grubs and take the first spot.
Yeah, and despite the slight woes of those first few kills, they still importantly have an advantage on Hope, and that's what they're looking to leverage right now, moving the Ashe up to this top side with tier 2 boots. You have the range advantage versus Xayah anyway, and when you've got the extra movement speed, approach velocity as well, you can see what he's able to do in the 2v2.
So annoying.
Yep, that's welcome to Ashe, bro. This champion's been like this for the past 2 years. That's why we've even got seed and support. Love it. Great job of our Twitch predictions. Wow, they've got big hopes. Apparently, we've got some JackeyLove fans potentially in the crowd here. But for what I want to see from TES, yes, they got those first 2 kills, which is great. But let's see if they can kind of open up this jungle support. I think when Kanavi and Crisp have looked really, really good is when TES have actually been at their best. And when you have this kind of damage dealing duo and crowd control support, this is, I think, a very, very potent opener for top esports if they can open the ball up on the map. And I think that with this Xayah, you can cheat a few waves.
Yeah, and I think as well as this game does go later, it comes down to protecting the Presidents. We have 2 potential hyper carries in the late game. The Ashe with a Lulu is a hyper carry. Xayah at 3-4 items can tear up team fights, especially when there's 3 melee champions that are going to be looking to dive upon her. So it's going to come down to JackeyLove versus Hope, who can stay alive better, but that's a team-wide mission at this stage. Shanks has got a Taunt. Camille Hextech Ultimatum can keep somebody off of the Ashe, and the same can be said for Lee Sin Kick, for Ambessa as well. The Rell CC, there's so many tools from both of these teams to keep their AD carries alive, and it will just come down to who does it better.
Are you not ready to see Creme take Wild Growth and just give it to his AD carry? Just think about the possibilities. The Sylas opens up everything for TES to be able to get done.
Very true. I guess that's the unlucky factor. Instant Captain Jax 07 there for JackeyLove.
Just a quick trade of the Summoner spells, not going to be available, both for this Dragon that is available, and also the Grubs in 2 minutes. Kind of missed this a bit earlier, but AL already have 3, which you're talking about playing for a side lane. You have this Camille. You need to be able to see how Flandre is going to be able to play the map in this game.
Yeah, I actually want to talk about that because it's a conscious decision from JackeyLove. Cleanse is a longer cooldown than the Featherstorm, but he knows that he can cleanse Ashe ulti, but he can't Featherstorm, or he can't cleanse Camille ulti, or a Galio jumping on top of him. So it's about making the right call at the right time for which cooldown to expend. And it's a small thing there from JackeyLove, but I think it could prove to be really important.
Yeah, we'll have to follow that one up here, especially with these next fights on the horizon for both sides of things. I mean, AL absolutely going to put a lot of onus on those grub spawns. I'm sure top esports don't want to give that one over for free as well. The thing I love here, though, we got to talk about the utility given by Hope and maybe not as much by JackeyLove. Yes, the Blade Caller is huge. Hope is going to have a major engage tool for AL to kick things off.
Drake spawned down on that bot side as well. Both of these teams have been relatively passive around the Dragons. Game number 1 as well, we sort of saw one get spread apart for the early stages of this game. Now Kanavi, though, with kick on this top side, have yet to see the Lee Sin really pop off in a skirmish, but does have just that small advantage over the Nocturne for the time being in terms of gold from the nature of that first kill. And if they spot out Kanavi on this top side, you have to think that that Drake is going to be forfeit.
They're starting up this dive, though. Kanavi's here, Crisp is on his way, and look where AL are. They're on the bottom side of the map. Oh!
Chris. We got the catch up. Off route. Bill.
That's going to be plates, and look at what AL have done on the bottom side of the map. Already preempted. Tarzan flies in. It's going to be the flash as well from JackeyLove. So unless they get this entire turret, it's going to be the first turret here for AL.
For the bottom here, as I have lost my connection, unfortunately, to the Parsec.
Creme is going
get back
down.
in the Parsec.
Hope finds the kill. It burns the flash of Creme as well. Gets a little here advantage for AL because they get the bot side turret. They get the kill as well, where Top Esports trying to take down that 5th plate. They didn't have it in them.
They get the turret now. They'll grab the dragon here, and it's going to be the trade as TES grab the top side objectives. The fact that Flandre goes down there makes it a little bit more even, and maybe there's a second dive coming towards Flandre's way, as you already see Crisp getting into the area. Lee Sin is starting to fog into that side of the map. Not too many minions left, and really the only person that can cover is Shanks. He does have the hero's entrance.
Channel is recall though, and I think that Top Esports are just biding their time a little bit. They don't go for the overzealous play, the crazy dive. They do find themselves, the little first kill onto Flandre in the first part, but with Grubs being traded 50-50, so 3 apiece, Drake is the first one going to AL. We are getting into another position where this game's going to sort of turn, I think, around one single fight. Game number 1, it turned in favor of Top Esports. Game number 2 in favor of AL. So again, setting up for this relatively quiet mid and early game for one fight just to go crazy.
Okay, and now we have AL setting up on the mid wave. They'll be able to push first what they want. And Creme does have the ability to teleport into this play, but I mean, you already have lost all this objective on the top side. We're waiting for Tarzan, who now has finished the experimental hex play. He's going to have a large kind of duty if they want to be able to dive on the top side. Just continue to press on to mid, jump into Fog of War, and then move your bottom lane duo into whichever side of the map you really want to be able to play for. But I think you really want to focus on some of these turrets. And another cleanse from JackeyLove.
Yeah, they're just playing like the give and take here of the cooldowns. For Hope now that the onus is on him to make a play with this Enchanted Crystal Arrow when the cleanse is down, and maybe there's going to be that overlap in time as to say, well, actually, cleanse is going to be down now. I've got ulti up. Let's try and make a play, and then you burn Featherstorm, and then you can look to use Nocturne, and it's this play that gets set up, 3 minutes ahead of an objective. You have to start doing it now because otherwise you're going to get into a fight. One of those cooldowns is going to be up, and it's going to be impossible to take down JackeyLove. And again, it's really important that we highlight that these 2 AD carries are the superstars of these games. Yes, there's a lot of carry potential from the top side of both of these rosters, but for your DPS to be your go-to gut check of damage, it's the ADs.
And I think it's such a beautiful story that we've been talking about all series long. Hope, the kind of player that has been slightly underrated, especially when we talk about the All-Pro votes. He got none of the All-Pro votes, even on the LPL side of the broadcast. And you've got the franchise, the made man in JackeyLove, who has been kind of just tearing it up all season long. Really feels like all of TS are starting to hit their stride as we get further into the playoffs, and no better time to start peaking than here in Grand Finals.
And Hope as well, not just that, but also is one of these players that has been frequently replaced on rosters, been replaced by massive names from the LPL, right? Ruler Pays are people that everybody globally knows. Hope definitely not quite to that same level, but has that chance now to make a play as Flandre now gets engaged on by the stolen Hextech ultimatum. Crisp comes in, and a flash is predicted by Crisp. Finds the kill for himself as well.
That'll also alleviate some part of this map where AL were trying to chip away at the side lane. I think them taking this bottom tier one has definitely freed up a little bit of this map, but now TES, specifically Crisp, he is his most played Rell of the season. He is performing excellently, and he's doing such a good job here as we get into this replay.
You can just see the movement on the map from Top Esports is just faster. They get the Rell, they get the Lee Sin down here that bit sooner, and Creme timing perfectly on the stolen ulti. Keeps Flandre inbound. Chris, predicting the flash to make sure that there's no chance the Camille gets away.
Man, I missed some gaming, gentlemen. Holy cow, we got some fun going on, at least for Top Esports and co. But hey.
Yeah. Go.
I love to see that Kanavi go with the lethality build here with the Lee Sin, but also taking a little bit more onus in his own right on the Lee Sin. But now we have about 45 seconds for that next dragon. Do we expect some big tussles from AL to try to claim their second?
They need to. I mean, they have such big team fighting ultimates. You look at that Enchanted Crystal Arrow that is going to eventually be up. Big thing for me that I'm going to be looking for is how they set up their side lanes. Right now, TES, they got a big wave shoving under that bot lane turret, and Creme can very easily move over. I like so far how TES have been able to play on these 3 waves so far, pushing out their lanes and then moving into Fogboard, getting their vision.
So let's take a look again, right? We were highlighting this Enchanted Crystal Arrow versus Cleanse trade. Well, objectives are spawning. JackeyLove's Cleanse is going to be back up for this fight. So all of the tools are at the disposal of Top Esports to keep their AD carry alive. And if that big 5v5 does break out, you have to think that locking down the Xayah is going to prove to be a pretty difficult task. We've highlighted it from the draft that the Xayah was going to be one of the big picks here, just by the nature of how safe it can keep itself versus all this dive that AL have got. And for Camille, who struggled this game, right? We're looking at the deaths, has been largely focused under turrets and been made map plays onto in the mid game as well. Trinity Force just barely coming through in time might be a bit of an indicator.
We get the Rift Herald started up by Kanavi, but this is maybe a little bit of a game plan for Top Esports moving forward. If you take away the powerful position that Flandre typically finds himself in for anyone's legend, what do they do without it? We'll see if Top Esports can close the handle on that book here. Flandre and co come right back to contest this Herald that resets now, so it's going to take even longer for them to take, but TP's coming again from Top Esports. They might actually want to fight this one.
Creme gets himself here, but 3-level lead in the top lane as well.
Kael getting a little bit low there. He does have to pop that wild growth. He had the paranoia pop by AL. They're looking to collapse onto this TP here if they can. They get the nice little taunt. Shanks going in, but massive flank. 4-man crash down from Chris, and that's the world champion for you. Top Esports have gained dominance in game number 3.
They run over AL in the topside jungle, and it is not even close. We were scared for all of these dive threats that AL had, but Top Esports, they find the first engage, and they never look back. It's a snap from Chris. It's a great fight from Kanavi as well. And the steal away of stolen ultis, the combo between Crisp and Creme as well. I was talking about these AD carries being the big build-up for this team fight. JackeyLove could have turned his monitor off.
That is quite possibly true. And what we got to see from AL there was the criticism that we had coming in from draft was the damage going to be there? Yes, the Lulu can enhance some of these members, but when you're getting the fight engaged upon you, we didn't really get to see AL do really much in that fight. And I will say, as much as excited we could be for Flandre, this Camille game is looking more and more miserable. He is down 60 CS on his opponent. He only has about an item. We're going to see this fight. I mean, look at where Kael is. There's no Lulu to enchant his team. He has to flash over the wall. There's no wild growth. And then we're using all these tools to stop. And it is 3-6-9, man. This Ambessa, with this on top, it just is unstoppable for Top Esports.
What was that combo? That is despicable.
Yeah, that's a valid response to that team fight. Frequently we've seen coaches get like quite calm until it's a game 5 and they know they're doing really well, but that was worthwhile.
All right, we're getting set up. The tension is not done yet. The Herald has already gone the way of Top Esports. They need to go back and take it. They haven't taken the eye, but they just take the fight. Public Execution back in with the heroic entrance, hitting onto 3 members. And Top Esports, they can do no wrong here. Another engage onto Shanks, and the rest of Top Esports now trying to follow him up. They can't find it. They didn't take the Herald Eye, I'm pretty sure. Now they're going to back away towards bot lane.
I'll take that, though. Look, my AD carry may have died, but at least they didn't take the Herald, guys. It's not cope, I promise. We got to see the villain's entrance from
tried
Creme.
to turn him around, by the way.
They thought about it, but 369 said, no, we're going forward. I'm killing these guys. There's nothing you can do to stop me. No one bothered to pick up the eye, which does suck and will, I think, slow down TES. But, I mean, we get to take a look at this replay, Rood, and I think the villain's entrance, thank you to Nightmare for that name, this is just too much. This wombo from TES is insane.
Yeah, I mean, what does an Ashe do here? With no flash? Lose is the answer, unfortunately. Lulu is not enough, and we talked about the dive nature of both of these compositions. Only one of these teams are diving. Like, the power that this Xayah holds is such a trump card, because AL are looking at all of these fights and going, okay, what do our champions do? They dive. Who are we diving? The Xayah. But the Xayah stops us from diving, and then that's like the end of the thought process, and they're going in loops.
The logic breaks and the robot is broken there.
Yeah.
And then now you come out of it, you look at just sheer advantages in experience I'm looking at in particular. JackeyLove has a level over Hope. 369 has 2 levels over Flandre. Top just keep this game like relatively neutral in terms of how they do it. Standard 3 lanes, they don't have to do anything fancy. They can just win this game outright.
I will also say, Kanavi doesn't need eyes anyways, so why do they need the Rift Herald? 4-0, and I got the chuckle. That's all that matters. That's all that really matters. As Adicon goes the way of top esports, now they have those Adicon GAs. AL, they are not stopping the look of pressure, at least. They are moving towards top side. They're potentially trying to take down this outer turret and get some standing gold for themselves.
369 gets access to the bot turret. I mean, look at what TES are doing. They're saying, we are willing to give up a top tier 1. Just make sure that it's completely protected. And now we've blown up the base. They can even move down to the bottom side. Oh, what's happening in the pip?
Okay, they got the heroic entrance there. This time the real one with the paranoia. Tarzan is trying to chase down Crisp. They got the one, at least they're
their base.
Wait, what is happening in the base right now? They're losing their mid inhib for this play. And AL, I mean, Tabe is going to be yelling at these guys.
And this is against Atacon top esports as well, by the way. So the kill, quote, quote, that they got versus Creme was 200 gold. He's going to be back in 15 seconds. And AL lose their mid lane inhibitor for 200 gold and a top tier 1 turret on that top side. I know they have to make plays to try and get back into this. Unfortunately, it's just not that one.
It's tough. TES have been close in a lot of these games so far in this series. Game 1 was obviously a much more dominant showing. Game 2, there was some looks, but unfortunately the lead that Hope and Kael had was too much to bear. And now here in Game 3, it was even until it wasn't. We saw that AL were denying waves. Now we're seeing that TS is just winning every single fight. Hope's brother.
Solo killed.
He just gets completely caught by Chris. Kanavi's even looking for the angle on the Kael. Wild Growth used to get Kael out of there. There ain't no saving grace for a Hope, and Chris takes him down of all people.
That's one of those where you look at your death recap and you see 70% Rell and you're thinking, what has happened?
Wild Growth back in. Oh my god. What devastation top esports have wrought onto anyone's legend. JackeyLove is just pelting Tarzan with feathers. And that'll be 2 more kills going the way of Kanavi. A turret in top side and top esports. They're over 10,000 gold up.
Look at the minion wave. There's double super minions already hitting the Nexus turret. Half HP here for AL. I think this game is a wipe. It's 10,000 already at 23 minutes. 369's almost level 16. It just feels like nothing AL can do is right at this point, and the damage concerns we had from draft are coming completely true.
Yeah, they just don't have enough in the tank, and the secondary source of damage we were looking at for AL has been completely shut down. Flandre is 0-4, down 3,000 gold versus his counterpart, and 2 levels of experience in favor of 369 also. There's just nothing for for AL to do. Top this game, they don't have to do anything. They can just walk up to turrets, probably take them by force, and it's another game where we have this stable, quite quiet 10 to 15 minute period, and all of a sudden, one fight breaks out, and then one team has just won.
King Kanavi is back, baby.
Yeah.
6-0-8. This guy was probably one of the worst performing members at the beginning of the split on this top esports team, and maybe turning into one of the best. The guy's consistency on JDG for all those years, and now trying to make his new legacy on top esports. This is a defining game in the series for him on the Lee Sin.
6-0-8, 14 out of 14 kill participation has been quite literally everywhere in this game to get it done for Tal.
And you think about his Lee Sin game that he had yesterday or a couple days ago in that lower bracket finals, he went 13-0 on Lee Sin. Maybe we just gotta not give this guy this champion at this point. He is providing.
I mean, maybe you can't even give the big combo over as now heroic entrance is there. That's the real one from Shanks. They got the big combo now. There's the villain's entrance right back from him. That's top esports. They actually
Creme!
Creme! What was the distance on that chain, my brother? As Creme is looking for more. Tarzan flashed to try to save it, but he could not do it. And 369 is now on the inside of the enemy base as Tarzan's being run down by Creme. One more dash will give him a triple kill and potentially a clean ace, but that's not going to be it.
And that's as good as it gets for AL. They find the clean engage onto JackeyLove. The divers dive. They find 3 kills in that fight. And honestly, this game should have ended off of that team fight. They were down 10,000 gold. Now they're down 9,000. They cashed in on a couple of kills. But
Whoa.
I mean,
Wow.
yeah, crazy fight.
We get to see it all happen here. Again, like you said, this started off so well. A lot of crowd control landing straight onto JackeyLove and to 369, but the amount of Omnivamp, the shielding that this guy has, he just makes such disgusting work with this backline. It takes so long for them to kill Kanavi that by the time all of the rest of this back end of the fight happens, it's just 369 and Creme. Yeah, he saves him, but now I don't have flash on my my jungler, and my AD carry still dies. It's the Baron being started in the live picture here for TES.
There's no way that they can get into contest. It's maybe a Nocturne steal with ulti.
They could try to. I don't know even if they can get in the pit here, though. Creme's going to deny them from even stepping close. The paranoia has been popped. There goes Tarzan into the pit.
Flipping.
He's going to do it.
Kanavi. 50-50, baby. Tarzan versus Kanavi. He's staying alive. It's the Griffin Bros back at it, but Tarzan goes down before the Baron even falls. Shanks has taken the wild growth from Kael, but will be run down nonetheless. Those feathers hurt, and Hope will know that feeling all too well. Top esports wipe the floor with anyone's legend.
Top esports are looking to make history already here in 2025, putting themselves on match point versus a team they haven't been able to beat so far in this season.
Not a single time have they won 2 games against anyone's legend in this year in Devasia Cup, and here they are to go up to match point.
Wow, a very good game, and one that I think that definitely plays into the strengths. We'll see what the Fearless system has to do as we get further in. All of these champions are gone, and it feels like, honestly, my next point of critique is, what happened to our man in the mid lane? Shanks has been kind of losing it a bit versus Creme.
Yeah, I think the fact of the matter is you can't have a grand finals and be quiet. Like, you have to step up in these moments. This is for the champion, for a brand new shiny trophy, and it's all on the line. This is where the real legends of the LPL are created. Speaking of some legends, though, we got some great ones on the desk. Let's go ahead and send it over to Rafa and the gang to break down that one.